Watch and burn.
Hey everybody. So tonight I am going to be discussing Ari Aster's second film, and that is Midsommar. Now, originally the plan was for me to do this really fun video out there where there's a fun sort of broken down gazebo thing that I found. But I completely forgot that there is a thunderstorm forecasted for 11 p.m. and it's now 10 after 11 and it's on and off raining like crazy and getting really windy. So I've decided to hide in this little entrance at a nearby school and talk about it there. So yeah, the reason that I wanted to make this video was because of this comment here that I am putting up hopefully now. And the person said that because I didn't like Hereditary, which I didn't, they said that they wanted to know what I thought of Midsommar, and I loved Midsommar, which is funny too because usually when you don't love the director's first film, you don't really bother to check out the second one. At least not just considering how much I hated Hereditary. But I ended up seeing Midsommar. And wow, this movie, if nothing else, this movie is an actual master class in foreshadowing. You know? I mean, everything, for the most part, that happens to the characters that don't matter in this movie, it's sort of painted on the walls in and around the places where they live and sleep while they're hanging out with their cult friends that they've made through one of Christian, Josh's, and Mark's friends. I can't remember his name. I think it's Pele. I think it is. And he's the one that says, oh, you got to come back and meet my crew. They're really fun and everything. And I do love how when they finally get there and everybody else is just sort of given like an average hello. They're like, hey, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. But then when they see Danny, they give her a big hug and they're like, yo, welcome home. And it's like, yeah, because this is where she's supposed to be. Now, I know technically that's not true. They had to put her kind of through her paces first to see if she is going to be crowned, as one of them or not. But I always found it kind of suspicious that even though that she still had to pass the trial, that they embraced her the way they did when they first met her. Like she was already part of their tribe, or cult, rather. And I thought that was neat. And I also too, there's been so much discussion as to whether or not her parents were killed by the cult, because when her bipolar sister gasses them to death, in their bedroom is the giant floral arrangement that looks exactly like the flowers Danny and Christian and Mark and Josh are going to come across once they're hanging out in cult land. So there has been a lot of speculation as to whether or not, the cult did this on purpose to her parents to isolate her, to get her away from her family by killing them so they could get her there. Now, I don't know. I will say it's odd that Aster, so I put that in there, especially considering that the flowers in her parents' bedroom look identical to all of the floral arrangements that you see once they're on the cult grounds. I also really loved how the two, I think they self-terminate. I think it's at 75. The thing I don't understand, though, is I don't know why the guy dropped down feet first. You're not going to die that way. I mean, his chick was just she just leapt off, head and chest first. That's going to get the job done. You dropping off a 70-foot cliff or whatever the hell that was, feet first, you're going to have a lot of exposed bone. And they have prepared for this because they have that big ass sort of Joker hammer fucking thing that they use at those feats of strength that they have for men to impress their women with at carnivals and the CNE and shit. Come on up here, prove to your woman how strong you are by hitting a bell or some shit, and then we give you a prize so that you go off and be a big man with your chick. So they come out with that thing and they finish them off. I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, buddy, well, don't drop feet first. Put some effort in, do what your chick did and fucking just go head first, right? I thought that was rad. And I do love how the British couple are so horrified that the chick's like, I'm getting out of here. And the boyfriend's just disappears, And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. The cult are like, no. took the bus in or whatever earlier. And the girlfriend's like, hello, we've never been apart. Why didn't he tell me? Oh, he didn't tell you because of, this and that. And it's like, she just kind of has to go along with it. It's like, he's clearly dead. He's dead. He's dead. We've all seen too many horror movies to know that the fiance isn't dead. And then she's dead too. Because really, this movie is about the cult sort of fostering a relationship with Danny and sort of strengthening everything they need to strengthen the bonds, and they're showing her the ropes, and they're showing her their way of life, because they're expected soon to be including her in all of their day-to-day activities, because she is one of them. Because Pelly, I think, he gives her the picture that he drew of her because he is so clearly into her. Whereas her and Christian are sort of on their way out. They shouldn't have been dating in the first place. Apparently, she's not really into sex. So if you're more like a normal dude, you're going to want to bang a lot. So maybe Christian shouldn't have stayed with her then. And that's no disrespect to Danny. It's just if, a guy obviously, or at least for the most part, so he wants to bang a lot. And if you're dating a chick that's sort of frigid in that department because she's just naturally not that into it, you shouldn't have stayed. So that right there is going to create such a massive sense of disconnection between the two of them because they lack the physical intimacy. And then they've been together for like 3 or 4 years, and then her fucking sister kills her family, and Christian's thinking to himself, oh God, this chick, she's just getting too much. But the whole time, I feel worse for Danny, because what kind of a boyfriend doesn't know how long they've been dating down to the minute, And it's like, he was so lethargic in how he approached their relationship. And the cult knew this. And so they get him to fuck that chick that likes him. He's got some of her period blood in his drink. I loved that too. All the drinks are one color and his is a little darker, because you got to have the sex blood in there because you're going to get your fuck on soon, right? God, this movie was amazing. Everything about this movie was awesome. The set design, the costumes, the overall, the entire art direction. The art department should have gotten an Oscar. Everything about this was bright, and it was terrifying, but it was really engaging and deceptively inclusive. Like, oh, everybody come, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to kill you and leave your foot sticking, like your leg sticking out of the ground or some shit. Just like the picture on the wall. Just like the picture on the wall. And, we're going to put your boyfriend inside a hollowed out bear and set him on fire. I mean, I just love this. It's like, I find myself saying so many sentences like that regarding this movie. We're going to put your boyfriend inside of a body of a hollowed out bear and set him on fire. I just love that. That could be the tagline for this movie. Midsommar, boyfriend in a bear carcass on fire. Totally would have got me in the theater. Because the only reason that I didn't take this movie more seriously initially was because I just really didn't like Hereditary. I thought this was rad. And I would really like to be out there doing this, but I can't. So I've been rambling way too long, so I'm going to stop. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for, Jesus Christ, a little over 8.5 minutes, which I may or may not shorten this afterwards. It's hard to say. So that may not make sense because the video may clock in as a little shorter. But anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I discussed Ari Aster's second film, and that is Midsommar. Like always, if you like this review, or you like this, I was going to say record, or if you like this movie, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But please, most importantly, actually don't forget that the world is a better place because you're in it. I'm going to go. Have a good night.